I'm going to show you exactly every tool that I use to run my gutter cleaning business. I have duplicated all of these tools to be able to run in employee trucks and etc. etc. So I'll show you how I kind of keep everything organized. First off, A-frame. Definitely need it. Don't use it very much, but when you need it, you need it. And it's a great thing to have around because you can carry it onto a roof a lot easier. So if you need to get up to a second story gutter, it makes it a lot easier. This piece, this is just a Home Depot extension pole. I think it's a 30 foot or a 20 foot or something like that. It's got a couple of the extensions. They're kind of expensive. They're like $50. But I only use one, and then for when I'm cleaning out gutters, because this thing gets kind of heavy, I'll just pull this all the way out, and then I'll have a smaller, lighter pole. But you can put anything on this. You can put brushes. You can put your gutter scraper tools on there. So next, throw this stuff in here. So this is garden hose. Quite honestly, I like to have two, because those take a crap quite a bit. If you have the room to, that's a 50 foot, so if you have the room to put two 50 foots in there, then all the better. Buckets, obviously. I usually keep 5. Quite honestly, I like to have more than that, but I don't really have the space because this is a 1500. So if you've got an 8-foot bed, it'd be nice to have more in there. This piece, absolutely necessary. This is like $80 from Home Depot. It's a quick connect, so it literally just slides on, and then you can easily take it off versus having to bolt or Allen key on your gutter arms, because a lot of customers will request that if they have black or brown gutters. And then we've got blower 1 and blower 2. So I always run 2. Obviously, if you're starting, especially if you're buying a brand new blower, you don't really need to. But I have been screwed a couple of times having. In fact, this blower actually needs to repair. The gas tank is leaking like crazy, so I'm gonna actually have to fix this. But having a backup blower is seriously, seriously nice if you got the extra funds to be able to buy one. This is just this is actually what the roofing harness comes in, but I just use this as a gutter fail. So keep that back there. Blower gas, so mix, great. And then this is kind of unique. It's called the groundskeeper. I don't really use it that much, if I'm being completely honest, but it comes in handy when you're trying to pull a bunch of leaves or stuff out of like gravel. But definitely not a necessary one. I really don't use it that much. This, just a brush. This has got the thick bristle stuff. You can also just buy the thick bristles. I ended up having to buy this because our brushes were. I think I lost a brush that was in this truck, so I had to go and buy this while I was on a job site. But it's got the same bristles as the yellow brushes that you'll find at Home Depot. This, I will say, is actually a game changer. Having some sort of shovel, I like this one because it's collapsible and super light. But just to pick up leaves and everything, it really is nice having a shovel. All right, and then this, definitely not a necessary one, but if you're doing soft washes or roof washes, this, I put my mix in there, and then you can use this to test spots, or if you have a tiny little roof that's you don't want to be shooting 5.5 gallons per minute at due to overspray or anything, this is really nice. As well as if you really want to take your sales game up a notch, if you can show customers exactly what's going to happen to a specific section, like especially on concrete tile roofs. This will actually like restore the color on a concrete tile roof. So if you put a little bit of mix in there, literally just take your sprayer and stick it in there once you've actually got the mix in there. Alright, that's all. That's it. And then we're going to move on to ladders. Alright, so this is a 28 foot. This will get you pretty much everything you need, everywhere you need. This is what I use the most. And of course, I got these. You can buy these on Amazon. They're super cheap. Well, they're not crazy cheap. They can be like, I think they range from like $30 to $90 or something. But that actually is a game changer. I wouldn't run without them because so commonly, if you end up having a super steep roof, you cannot access the gutters from the roof. So you have to do it from ladders. And if you have to do it from ladders and there's uneven ground, that's just a recipe for falling. So that actually is probably one of the absolutely necessary things that you put on a ladder as soon as possible. Now we've got this one. This is a 16 foot. I absolutely love this ladder, and this is what I really do use the most when I can. So if I'm just accessing first story stuff, or again, if I have to bring a ladder onto the roof, this is the one that I try to choose. Just because it's so light and so easy to move around, that really does kind of save you energy wise. Also, something to note, this ladder rack, very nice. It was $300 at Harbor Freight. So if you need a good ladder rack and you don't mind, if you don't have a crazy lifted truck, then this is, I'm pretty stoked with that one, and it's fully adjustable to be able to go on an 8-foot bed as well. So, all right, so this absolute beast. This is a 32 foot. I hate using that ladder. That thing is freaking heavy. But every once in a while, I use that ladder very minimally. I probably use that ladder as much as I use the A-frame in there. But when you need it, you need it. This will get you about 2.5 stories. Kind of sketchy, but you can get it up to about 3 stories. But you're just not going to have anything, like, it'll get up there, but there's not going to be any extension past the gutter. So, for ease of use, especially because I've run solo trucks, so employees, they run solo, as well as now I myself am doing all the jobs. So to be able to actually move around the ladder is kind of a big deal. 40 foot, good luck. And especially if you run fiberglass, I hate fiberglass ladders. They're way sturdier, but they are so much heavier. A 16 foot is just ridiculous. So anyways, I run all aluminum, and they do just fine. But that's all of the stuff at the back of the truck. So now let's go to the front of the truck and I'll show you. We got everything packed in there real nice. Right in here, when I've got full buckets from a job, I can put my buckets all lined in there, and then I can dump the debris. All right, so now we're moving to the inside. I run a truck box. It really does make a difference. It just keeps things a lot more organized. So I keep a few things in here. Our rope, an absolute necessity. And then we've got our broom, so this can go onto just a extension. So I've got this little extension pole here, and then I can just run a brush on that. Because obviously we want to clean up after we've made a huge mess of somebody's house. And then I've just got a couple of other things, like these. You never know when you'll need them. These go on top of the ladder. I've got pretty new ladders, but if you're buying older ladders used in Marketplace like I had to do in the beginning, this will save siding. You obviously don't want to be damaging people's property, so if you put these on the top of your ladder and you need to get to a window or just a tricky spot in general and you have to put the ladder up against some siding, then these are a game changer. They're not very much, and you can pick them up at any hardware store. This is the brushes I was talking about earlier. These are not very cheap. I think they're like 15 or 20 bucks at Home Depot, but if you need to remove some moss, this is the way to go. That's pretty much it. And then these ones, so these are a gutter scraper tool. So this is, you put this on an extension pole and then you can clean gutters from a ladder a lot easier than, you don't have to move the ladder nearly as much. So you can pull the debris towards you with this, and then all of the gutter spikes to push the debris past the gutter spike, you use this in. So anyways, again, these aren't super cheap. I think they're about like 13 or 15 bucks a piece, but I buy them in bulk. I've got like probably 10 in here. And that is probably an absolute necessity. And then in the other side, I don't keep a whole lot. I've got a little tray in the other side that has spare gutter spikes and stuff. So if somebody's missing a gutter spike or needs one replaced, then I've got some extras. This is some window cleaning stuff here. So if you clean windows, this is the Flick something. I don't remember what it is. Flick Liquidator. It's by Mormon. This thing is awesome. Absolutely love this squeegee. This, it completely rotates on end here, and then you can adjust the angle at which you're pulling from. So if you have to do any pull work, so I don't run a water-fed brush, so I can put this on an extension pole, and which I've had to do quite a few times, and this is this is a complete game changer, because your mop is literally right there, and then you just drop it down. You move your extension pole, move it away from the window, and then you've got your squeegee. So this is awesome. This one was not cheap either. This was like 90 bucks. So this is actually a Home Depot find. This is Unger brand, and this is so you can put this on an extension pole, and then this pad, whatever, it's some sort of microfiber, but it picks up water and stores it without leaving streaks at all, incredibly well. So you got some pole work you have to do. You can use this. I don't know how much it cost, but it comes with 2 of these, and then these just Velcro on. So if you're doing much of the window cleaning stuff, these 2 pieces will really help you. I usually keep some spare oil, 2-stroke oil, when I have to mix gas. And then this stuff, I usually just kind of keep this under my seat here, so it's kind of messy, but this is what I use to clean concrete tile roofs. So we've got our steel brushes, and then we've got our paint scraper. And then this just goes in the channels of each of our tiles, and then this brushes the bottom of them. Those are much more tedious jobs, but they pay incredibly well, and usually you can get a couple days out of the job. So I like to do them. Plus, my background was repairing those tile roofs, so I like tile roofs. Anyways, past that, you can't see it, but my seat is flipped up, so I keep a little bit of stuff in here. This is obviously our harness. I still use, but I have for the past 3 years. The cheap, I think it's $50 at Home Depot. It comes with 50 foot of rope, and then it comes with your harness. So again, an absolute necessity. And then past that, kind of hung up on the seat, I've got 2 rain jackets, because I don't like ponchos, so I just use rain jackets. And then this piece, and this is all that I've got back here. But this one, again, not an absolute necessity for when you're starting out, but this is just to measure, like from the ground, measure your lengths of gutters, for example. So like for you're installing gutter guards or anything like that, or Christmas lights, this can be nice because then it can get you an accurate idea as to how much, because I don't feel like counting gutter spikes and doing math and stuff, so I keep it easy. All right, so now we've got this. This is my powder bucket. This is where I keep all of my powder. And I keep 50-pound bags of powder in the front seat, but this is obviously, I need to get it up on the roof somehow. So Harbor Freight sells the bucket, and they also sell the lids. So that's super nice. This, because I don't use zinc, I ripped the labels off, but this was, I believe, a 12-pound or 10-pound just zinc thing. And this thing has lasted forever. I mean, you can see it's pretty torn up, but that's what I used to actually spread the powder. This was essentially a starter kit from, I think, Window Cleaning Resource. You can find them online. This is, I think it was about $250, and it came with a whole bunch of squeegees for you. It came with a whole bunch of T-bars. Came with the, you've got your pouch so you can hold your scraper tools and stuff like that. But this is essentially all you need to actually start window cleaning. This is for brushing out the windowsills. This, absolute necessity for doing windows. This is how you pull the screens. So this just clips in there, or you can use this end to pry your screen out of the way without causing damage. And then this one, it came with one, but I have switched because I like to be able to buy the blades easily and last minute if I need to. So this was just from Home Depot, and this is just a razor blade, but a longer one. So you can see I need to replace the blade already, but that one's definitely a necessity too for getting any paint or any hard sap or anything off the windows. But that's all I've got in here, and then I usually just keep microfibers in the big pouch to dry the windows. What pretty much takes up the majority of the back seat is a bunch of microfibers. So this is all clean. This is also all clean microfibers, and a bunch of these. So you probably will want to buy a couple extras of these. The kit that I got came with quite a few of them, but obviously you're going to use quite a few, especially if you're doing multiple jobs in a day. So that back there, and then I also, for towels that need cleaned, like these, which I should bring these inside, but it's not very full yet, just a waterproof bag of some sort to tote that stuff around so you're not just making a huge mess of the truck. Try to keep it as organized as I can in there. All right, and then lastly, I use a ton of these. So this is like 25 bucks at Home Depot, and it's just 50 contractor bags. So they are, I believe, 42 gallon bags. So this is what I put all my debris in when I'm doing a huge roof clean, or just a large gutter job where 5 buckets isn't enough to hold all the debris. because I do take the debris home for the customers, so I dispose of all that. I do dump runs or throw it in my own yard waste. So anyways, this is a total necessity. That's kind of that. Now we've got pretty much all of our stuff in there. Looks pretty good. Now we can move over onto the other side. And the other side, if I'm being completely honest with you, isn't so much of a necessity for if you're just starting this stuff out. Because quite honestly, I keep a lot of that stuff because, like I said, so I used to do a bunch of roof repairs, and so I still do the occasional stuff. I don't mind doing a little bit of kind of handyman stuff if I can make an extra $50 or just help out a customer that needs something. So anyways, this is mostly that kind of stuff. So this, my toolbox, this is all the equipment that I actually use, and I'll kind of show you what's in here. I will say this is pretty damn nice, especially because I'm pulling a trailer for soft washing and pressure washing. So for that, I have quite a bit of stuff in here that is actually necessary for what I'm doing. That isn't like contractor work, in other words. So here I've got a bunch of bits for the pressure washer. I've got blades, and then down here I've got a bunch of bits. So this is for like pulling, what do you call it? Like downspouts. So I use these. Just get a little kit like this. Again, cheap at Home Depot. Just the standard measurement hex bits. So that's how I end up pulling all the downspouts out. This, I believe, was just a cheap kit from O'Reilly's or something, and this is just an Allen key set, and you can see it's gotten kind of rusty. But this is really nice because occasionally I don't have the right size for something, or if I'm working on the soft wash trailer, then this really is a game changer. I try to keep all the bits so that I can do work to it on the job site if I need to. So having that with me does make a big difference. Then I've got my drill. This is just a super cheap Milwaukee M12. I think I bought a kit for, I think it was like $150 or $100, and it came with two. But these, I think it's like $100 for one of these. And this isn't an actual drill. It's the what do you call it? The impact driver. So that's all that I use. Drill, impact driver, doesn't really matter. This is just what I have. And then we've got more pressure washing bits. So this is actually a bad one, but M5 twist. And then we've got all of this. So this is all pressure washing stuff if I need to change things. Stainless steel doesn't, at least this stuff, I believe it's just stainless. But this stuff doesn't corrode as easily, or rust. So you can see I've got and this one already looks kind of nasty, a brass one here. And it's just, they don't hold up quite as well. So anyways, I've just got extra pressure washing stuff in here. And then, what do we got next? Screws and nails. Alright, so I just keep this stuff. Screws, I have two types in here. This is just self-tappers. So you never know when you're going to need this. These are pretty small though. So for the bigger stuff, I end up using this. And to be honest with you, I don't remember what this is, but it's a sealed washer. So it's a rubber washer that's on here. These don't self-tap quite as well, but they are self-tappers. Hex bit. This is so if somebody's missing a screw on a downspout, then I can throw one in for them. So more screws. To be honest with you, I think all these little screws were from pulling some gutter guards off for somebody. They just had so many fir trees around that the gutter guards weren't doing anything. They wanted them removed, so I removed them, kept the screws. I don't remember what the big screws are for. And then this is all nails, so this is 2.5 inch. This is what I use to install anchors. I used to install anchors. I don't really do it anymore. But big, and they're, I don't remember what you call it. Hard to kind of see, but you can see they're kind of ribbed. So helps grip the wood, I guess. But that I use for installing these. So here's the anchors that I use. This is for when I had employees working for me, and so they're just Peakworks. Order them on Amazon. I used to make some pretty big orders, and then this is I don't remember what this is called, to be honest, but I haven't ordered this stuff in a long time. But this is membrane tape, and essentially this just seals around the nails. You really don't even need to do that, but at least for when I had employees working for me, this absolutely was a necessity, because in Washington State, L&I is the employee insurance, essentially. So for employee insurance, we have to follow their rules, and every person that's on a roof above 6 feet, which is every roof, has to be wearing a rope and harness. So I had to install a lot of these. Here I've got extra X-Acto knife. I've got some screwdrivers, so for making repairs to the soft wash trailer. Here's an extra twist tip for the hose. So I keep these. These definitely. I don't like the gun sprayers because those things, they break. They're so inconsistent. And so this one, there's basically nothing that can break. The only thing that can break is what broke on this, which is just a little rubber washer that sits in there, and that rubber washer seals it so it doesn't leak. But you can still use this even without the rubber washer. So that's what I use. And then, of course, I keep some zip ties because that's how I keep the wiring and the hoses nice on the pressure washing trailer. All right, and then we've got a bunch of stuff that you probably won't ever need unless you're kind of running a business similar to me. So this is just a caulking gun, and then this is roof caulking that's in it. So this is what I use to seal up holes for installing the tie-off anchors. So this was super necessary. I will say, having a caulking gun with some of this stuff, brand, I don't really have a preference, but this is gutter sealant. So you can actually, typically it's $150 per corner. If you find a house that has a leaking corner on a gutter, you can throw some of this stuff off. You have to use a steel wire brush, scrape all of the old glue off, and then you throw some of this seam sealer down, and then that should seal up the gutter. So quick way to make some extra money, and I've had calls for that. Every once in a while somebody will say, hey, this is leaking. So if you can just on the spot have some of this stuff, and I mean, that's an extra $150, so why not have it, right? This was from my repair days. Actual set of bags. This has got a bunch of stuff that you won't really need. I got my fancy hammer with the magnet on it and the axe. So it's got a little magnet on it so I can lift up a shingle and smack it in with a nail on there. And then I've just got some other stuff. I've got a whole bunch of nails in here, X-Acto knife, pencil, roller for rolling on flashings. But again, if you're just cleaning gutters or roofs, you don't need all of this stuff. Keep a hammer in the truck, but that's literally all you need. And then this stuff I do like to have on hand because I do some of the repair stuff. Plus, you never know what somebody's going to ask for or what somebody's going to need. So this is just valley flashing, but you can cut it in to use as pretty much anything. I mean, you could, if you really wanted to, you could make step flashings or kick out flashings for a roof with this stuff. This is super nice. So if you do any sort of single work, like if you have employees and you need to install anchors like I was, an actual decent sized flat bar, just so you can break the seal loose on the shingles, and then you can obviously pull your nails with this. This versus some tiny little ones that they advertise for it, it really does help a lot. And you don't really have to, because of the soft edges, you don't really have to worry about ripping shingles or anything. So anyways, that one actually has to be necessary. Then we've got some of this stuff. So this is a little bender. This is for bending up flashings. Throw that under the seat because it never gets used. This I would probably recommend if you've got the space. I would recommend for both of these. So I've got two sets here. These ones are super rusty. I don't even know that these are worth keeping in there anymore, to be honest. But just some snips. This is a new set. If you're doing any sort of gutter work, because you never know what somebody's going to ask for, and if you need to do a little bit of modification, or if you need to sell somebody a gutter elbow, or a downspout got damaged, and so you're replacing just the downspout. That's so simple. I mean, you go to Home Depot, you buy a 10-foot section, then you can cut it up and stick it on there. It's so easy. So anyways, keeping that stuff, having a set of snips is definitely a good thing to have. And these, to be honest with you, I don't know what these are called. But this actually goes on, you click it onto a downspout or click it onto any part of the downspout gutter, right? Then you pinch it like this, and then that creates kind of a little wave in there so that you can bend, get a gutter elbow or downspout, so you can connect them together because they just slip in, right? So this is actually pretty damn nice to have. I unfortunately do not know what these are called though. So anyways, but that's literally it. That is essentially all that I keep in here. So I'll show you. We have got everything. I'm just going to leave this stuff out. But we've got our couple sets of flashings. I do like to keep jumper cables, just because I'm using the truck so much, and then some sunscreen. But we've got our toolbox. I've got my bags, flashing, hammer, more flashing. We've got, here's our all of our window cleaning stuff. So we've got our window cleaning bags, clean, dirty. And then over here, we've got our powder bucket, a couple extra squeegee stuff, and our plastic bags. And then, of course, we've got up here my mess of waterproof clothes, and then our measuring thing, and our harness. So that's basically it. That's for the back seat. And then, of course, like I said, so this was over here. This is where I like to keep my permanent anchors. We've got a temporary anchor in there, little oil thing in case I need it. And then these were the extra spikes. Got our bags, got our ladders, and then the only thing that's left would be the front seat, which I keep pretty clean, and then it's a complete disaster. This is where I keep most of my window cleaning stuff that I can't have. So we've got a spray bottle for if I'm cleaning inside windows. We've got spare handles. So this takes a different type of squeegee. It takes this kind here, which I do like, but I don't know. It seems to all kind of be a preference thing when it comes to the window cleaning world. But this is a much thicker squeegee, and so you have to have a different handle for it. I've got two of them, and then I've got the standard handle. But I keep all of my squeegees down in there. This is all new rubber so that I can replace it if I need to, which you do. You'll definitely need that. And then I keep some Dawn dish soap. And then this is just a mixture of Dawn dish soap and water. Because of the season and because I live in Washington, I like to keep a towel in here because oftentimes my face will just get soaked. I hate having my face totally soaked. So anyways, I'll use that. My lunchbox, essentially, I'll just keep some protein bars or whatever in there. But this is literally everything that I use to make 12 to 15 grand a month by myself, working out of a truck. So this is all the equipment that I need. This time of the year, the only things that I'm doing is the occasional roof clean, as well as a bunch of gutter cleanings and treating a roof with some powder, so zinc or baking soda or whatever. So that's literally it. You have any questions? Let me know down in the comments. Do you agree with my setup? Would you add more? Would you delete some of this stuff? What do you think? Anyways, my name is Devin, and thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.